Oh, Alex, I'm so glad we know each other well enough now to tell you that I've got some things that are playing on my mind that I feel a bit guilty about.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Yeah, like what?
Well, I was thinking about that game Silent Hill 2, and it's weird because I got this letter from the podcast host that died a while ago telling me to come to Silent Hill.
Silent Hill like in America?
No, the one here that's in Japan. What? Oh, guys, what's going? It just got really foggy all of a sudden.
すみません。カードもいいですか？はい、喜んであなたがなったため。はい、慎んで
Guys,
あなたがなったた
why?
め。
You both look like you've got
すみま
pyramids
せん。
there.
カ
Heads,
ードもいいです
guys.
か？はい、
Guys,
喜んであなたがなったため。
it's so foggy. I can't even see you anymore. Guys,
だね。
this episode of the Game Club podcast contains spoilers for Silent Hill F and Silent Hill 2.
There it is.
I was doing that funny thing. I actually have a skit idea.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we can record it at the end because we've already started recording.
It would already stop our speeding momentum on this episode.
Exactly. Tim, I love that you brushed you ran your hand through your hair, and now the right side of your head is probably the width of your whole face.
Yeah, it seems about right. It's like if I compress it.
Oh, he's such a tiny man.
Got a tiny head. This is for balance, you see.
Ah, good. It's good for the audio.
Well, it's great because it fills the frame on my screen.
Yeah, but
It just makes you look like a triangle.
But our audience, can't. The triangles. Our audience can't see it because this is audio.
Yeah.
If you watch Two Blokes from Blighty this week, because Tim and I are recording this after this recording session, you will meet Captain Triangle in the video there. Le Triangle.
That's all the French I'm going to need for next week.
Whoa. Anyway, boys, we're not here to talk about Tim's triangular aesthetic. We're here to talk about a video game. Now, everyone will have had this spoiled by our fantastic thumbnail, the beautifully worded title that I will call Game Club Pod Silent Hill F, and also the fact that we had our skit at the start, even though you heard about me planning it afterwards. But we always start with a question. We always start with a lovely, funny question that the host comes up with, and that's me this time. So, guys, Silent Hill has seen a little bit of a resurgence in popularity with the remake of Silent Hill 2. What game that doesn't have a remake would you like to see be remade?
Jack 1, 2, and 3. Anything from the precursor trilogy, please and thanks.
Ooh, yeah, I mean,
Tim had that answer locked and loaded. He was ready.
I've been wanting a Jack 2 remake for donkey's years.
Jack 2 was like... Did you ever play it, Alex?
No.
It was like GTA for kids.
It was unreal. Like, not GTA for kids in the way that Simpsons Hit and Run is GTA for kids. This was like, you're doing shady underground shit to fight the man, and there's hover bikes and police chases and all sorts. You get guns, and you can do a spin attack just like in GTA.
Yeah.
It's oh my god, I played the shit out of that game.
Yeah, we absolutely ruined it. I mean, Jack 3 was of a similar vein, but not as good.
Jack 2 just, it hit different.
It hit different. Let's do an episode on it sometime.
We really should if we can all find a way to play on PC.
But we can, through legal means, I assure you.
Through very legal means.
The legalist
very
of
legal.
means.
The legal.
The most legal of means that you can imagine. Alex, do you have any thoughts on what games you'd like to see remade?
I'm trying to think because a lot of the ones that are coming to mind have already had some form of a remake. You know, you got your Halo remake. There was Tetris Connect, which, you know, Tetris needed a remake after 30,000 years of existence.
Have you considered The Last of Us again?
I would not
The
consider it the first time.
The Last of Us remake needs a remake. It's been like a year and a half.
It's been at least 2 weeks, so
it's like the Final Fantasy problem, isn't it? How many Final Fantasies can you have?
They're all different stories though with Final Fantasy though. Like,
how many Last of Us are there?
Final Fantasy 26. We promised this was our Final Fantasy.
To answer your question, Alex, there are 2 story games based on The Last of Us, but there's 1,800 remakes.
How many remakes actually is there of
Okay, so there's
one every year, isn't it? At this point,
3 Last of Us. There was PS3 remastered, PS4 edition, PS4 remastered, PS5, 60 FPS, 4K remaster, and then the PC is also a remaster.
But
it's milking a dead cow that was already dead at its insertion, isn't it? Really?
Well, hold on, because The Last of Us is a very good game.
It's a good game. It doesn't.
It's a really good game. Though. No, but were the PS3 and PS2, 4 versions not released at the same time?
PS3 remaster was the same as PS4, but then PS4 got its own version of a remaster, I think.
Was that not the same as the PS5 version?
To my knowledge, no, because it didn't get the 60 FPS build.
Yeah, well, there you go. Sorry, Alex. We spoke very rudely.
Derailed you then.
Oh, it's quite all right.
He's looking through a Steam library.
You know what? I wasn't, but that's an excellent idea.
Well, no, it's not, because, I'd like for this episode to finish today.
It's only a 9-year-old game, but a remake of XCOM 2 wouldn't go amiss.
XCOM.
That'd be cool.
XCOM here.
XCOM 2 Electric Boogaloo.
That's where you play as the protagonist, John XCOM.
Was that the second episode we've recorded in a row where we nearly had a spit take? Right, guys. I think I would like to see a game that is going to get a remaster. Silent Hill 1.
Oh.
Silent Hill 1. I think Silent Hill 1's getting a remaster with the Bloober team.
Why did they remaster 2 but not 1?
Well, because 2 is the really iconic one in the series.
2
1 is
like
good.
Peak horror gaming.
But 2 is excellent.
Right.
And my real answer is Balatro remastered.
Game of the year, so it needs a remaster.
Are you all right, Alex?
I wasn't expecting Balatro to come into it, but why am I surprised that Balatro
Game
came
of the year,
into
Balatro.
Game of the year, Balatro.
As a side thing, yesterday whilst I was on my computer, I watched a video where they asked 8 solo developers to make part of a game and pass it on to the next developer. They make part of a game, they pass it on, and they eventually end up with one tangible game. And the brief for this game that they had to make was a horror version of Balatro. And it looks really good. It's like Darkest Dungeon meets Balatro.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
That's cool. Right, guys, so we're here to talk about Silent Hill F, or Health. Silent Hill.
Silent Hills.
Guys, Silent Hill was released at time of recording less than 20 days ago.
Oh.
It was released on the 25th of September 2025. It's a survival horror single player. It's available on PS5, Windows, Xbox Series X and S, and it's not been out long enough to win any awards. It's got a generally positive reception, with a lot of people saying that whilst they really like the game, they didn't like the change in the combat system. We'll come on to that in a little bit. Metacritic gave it 86 out of 100. OpenCritic gave it 88 recommend. IGN gave it a 7 out of 10. IGN being harsher than Metacritic is an interesting one.
Well, Metacritic's like a conglomerate score across a bunch of reviewers.
Yeah, and IGN lick Windows, so you would have thought that they always would have given a higher score. But Computer Games Magazine and Destructoid both gave it a 9 out of 10. They're pretty favourable reviews, really. I have not yet completed Silent Hill. Alex, I believe you're in the same camp.
I've not completed Silent Hill.
Tim, have you completed Silent Hill?
No, but from what I understand, I was 30 minutes from the finish.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Cool. So Tim is just about to climax. Alex and I are still getting there.
Yeah, naturally, I'm going to finish first. Like, it's the way these
We're
things
still
happen.
in the foreplay stage.
just how it is. Okay, let's talk about our experience with the game. So, Alex, I'm going to start with you, please.
You can.
And actually, as a part of your question, have you ever played a Silent Hill before?
No. No. I might have played the odd bit of one in the past when someone else has tried to make me play horror again. I'm not a big horror media fan, not because I get scared and get the willies from it. I just find it I find it all very sort of samey cookie cutter. Oh, jump scare, bloogie woogie woos. Silent Hill was it's a hard one because I'll say the things I like on it. The atmosphere that it created was very good. Artistically, it's very nice to look at. The sound design was very, very good. The monsters were uncomfortable to look at because I'm sure we'll get onto it, but a lot of them are sort of grotesque, malformed, mannequin-type creatures or big, bloated, horrible flower monsters. I thought they were cool looking. There's two problems with this game that, for me, is common with a lot of horror media, and it's that it shows you the monsters immediately in the game, it shows them frequently, and it shows them very, very clearly. The design of a good monster is something like in Aliens or Dead Space, where you barely see the thing until sort of the last 5 minutes, where it's all up in your face. And then this game also gives this teenage Japanese girl a way to fight back against these demonic creatures. It doesn't make sense in my head. And Joey, you said we'll go on to it. I found the combat frustrating as all hell. Okay. I did not get on with the combat at all. I feel like, and I'm sure it's intentional, but it was very easy to get lost, which is impressive for what is pretty linear gameplay. And
did you find it was easy to get lost? I used the map loads, and I found it.
I kept using the map, but getting turned around a lot, and like sort of looking at the map and going, right, that looks like the right way, and then you get halfway there, and it's like, oh no, there's a hay bale in your way. You can't go this way anymore. I also, and I'd like to know if you guys had this, especially you, Tim, because you played it on the deck.
Sorry,
frame rate drops. Random frame rate drop.
Yes, but
all over the place.
But I have found that if I experience that with games, it's good to change your Proton version on Steam Deck. So it because some games that are running on Linux will work with different Proton builds better. You can change that out to improve performance.
Tim, I'd like to ask a question.
Yeah.
What the fuck is a Proton build?
It's part of an atom.
Well,
thanks.
The opposite to an
idea with it is
electron.
essentially it's like a compatibility thing. I don't entirely know how it works, but like
sort of the difference between DirectX 10 and Vulkan.
Kind of, yeah. But because Linux iterates on it so much, you can download different builds, and I found that always checking for the latest Proton builds and then going to a few go-to Proton builds will help. I know you've only had a Steam Deck recently, Alex, so I can show you how to do that if needed for future games.
Well, I played this on PC, and like my PC is not the newest PC in the world, I'll give you that, but it shouldn't have been dropping frame rates. I found a lot of it was entering or exiting buildings, and it would go from a nice smooth 30 all the way through to it just dropped down to 10. And of course it'd be when a monster jumps out, so you end up fucked. I also found that the interaction prompts, so like the press A to pick up or jump over or whatever, they seem to be really finicky about you have to be staring directly at where the prompt is. If you're off by an inch, it just tells you to go suck an egg.
Okay.
But yeah. So yeah, it's one of them. As a game, frustrated the hell out of me. Artistically, it was really nice to look at and really nice to listen to.
Nice. Okay, cool. Tim?
I mean, not to sound like I'm parroting a lot of what Alex said, but combat is this game's biggest downfall for me, to the point that it is what made me stop playing the game where I did. I loved the art direction of this. I loved the symbolism in the enemies. I loved that I was able to pick, effectively call parts of the story by reading through the journal notes and reading through notes and picking up on context clues. And we'll get into story later on, as we always do. But there were parts of the story and it's like, I think it's this, and then only to have it come to fruition later on, which was nice. And I feel like if you didn't read those notes or go out of your way to find those extra bits of detail, you're not going to get that. That's a really good bit of world building. It's a good bit of storytelling. It's a nice way to reward players who will go out of their way to look for details. The thing that irked me, and again, I'm going to rag on the combat here, is it's a combat system that's clearly designed for one-on-one interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And this game does not do that very often. So it's, to me, Silent Hill, and this is coming from someone who has played a good amount of Silent Hill. I've not played the whole series. I've played through Silent Hill 1. I've played through Silent Hill 2. Absolutely love them. I went into this because I understand that they're kind of going back to their roots, if you like, with Silent Hill F, kind of making a very symbolic, very enigmatic Silent Hill game that focuses on the characters' inner personal issues. In this case, without going too far into spoilers, it's the details of the feelings surrounding an arranged marriage and family debt, peer pressure, as a young Japanese woman in the kind of 60s to 80s period.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to unpack there. And then the game will just throw mannequin monsters and faceless monsters and big fat monsters that are meant to be your dad with a big sword at you with a singular lead pipe that will break if you look at it funny. It's annoying. It's frustrating. And there is a section in chapter, and I looked this up because I wanted to know how far I was from the end. There is a section in chapter 12 of 13, which is where I stopped, where you are running from Hinako's house to the town center, which at the start of the game is maybe a 5-minute walk, but you are running into enemies, and you can run around most of them, but the enemy pathing in this game is particularly good, and they know where you went at all times, so they will just follow you. Not normally a problem, because you can hit up a save point or a room or a house or something. Not an option here. While there are save points, before you can reach those save points, you have to beat required monsters. These things called birthing monsters, which are meant to be Hinako's feelings about not wanting to just be someone that just pumps out children as their life goal. She's rebelling against that. That's kind of the whole point of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to get to the save points, you have to beat those monsters, which spit out more monsters, while you're also trailing the monsters that are fighting behind you. And you can't exactly go out and fight the monsters behind you first, because you're already running low on weapon stamina, being only able to hold 3 weapons at a time, some of them much better than others. But by this point, you've also run out of healing items a long, long time ago. And I'm not saying, games should just throw healing items at you, but what games should do is work on a multi-enemy combat system, because that's not it. Silent Hill is a game series that prides itself on horror elements, atmosphere, and puzzles, and it got to a point somewhere around chapter 9, I think, where they just deemed combat to be a puzzle, and
Right.
Combat ain't a puzzle. And that, to me, was the biggest gripe, to the point that I had a good lengthy discussion with Payne about what I thought and score of it, and it actually brought my score significantly down.
Right. Well, I look forward to hearing what terrible score you give the game. Right. So I think everything you said is fair. I agree wholeheartedly. The setting of this Silent Hill is outstanding. It's set in an old Japanese village. I do have questions whether it should have been called Silent Hill. I understand because it's follows the Silent Hill principle of being based around the psyche of our protagonist, like sculpting that world. But Silent Hill is a place in the Silent Hill franchise. It's actually a place called Silent Hill. This felt like it could have been called something else. but as
Quiet
part
Mountain.
of the town is called, and I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this, Ebisgakoa.
Ebisugakoa.
Thank you. Ebisugakoa is the small town that this is based on. I do wonder if they could have come up with a better or more appropriate name for the game and then made it clear that it was part of the Silent Hill universe. Alex.
The town is on a hill.
It is quiet.
It's not fucking silent, though. Very noisy.
I did want to just to interrupt there. In terms of the atmosphere, just going back to what you were saying, how the atmosphere is really good, I actually put the atmosphere of this game on par with the original Silent Hill 2. I think it's that good.
I think it might be better.
Mm.
And I think that what they've managed to do in Silent Hill F is turn. So it's a really, really, really well-known fact that the reason that you have the fog in Silent Hill 2 is because of a limitation at the time that the PlayStation 2 could not render Silent Hill in the way that the developer wanted it. PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2? PlayStation 1. So they put this really thick fog in so that the game didn't have to think about anything outside of your immediate vicinity. This is kind of kept on because it's a staple of the franchise.
It's atmosphere.
It works.
This is still a thing in Silent Hill F, but they have introduced this kind of fungal monster flower thing in the town that makes it really aesthetically pleasing. And where it's grotesque, it looks grotesque. Where it's not grotesque, I actually think it looks quite pretty.
Yeah. It's a spider lily.
I think that I actually disagree with some of your guys' points about the monsters. I think the mannequins in this game look phenomenal and are absolutely terrifying, particularly the ones that are based on our main character and their school friends. I think that there's a sequence in the rice paddies where you have to find the right mannequin to pull the clue out of, or the mannequins will attack you. And the ones with the masks that are cracked, there's something about them that I think is really haunting.
I think
Probably a bit of Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, probably. The way that you know, that awful Momo thing,
Yeah.
like, when it was out, it terrified the hell out of me, but I couldn't stop looking at it.
Well, it's unsettling because it looks like a human, but it's just off. You know.
Yeah, and I think that is the case with those mannequins. Sorry, Alex, were you gonna come in there?
I was just gonna say I agree that the monsters are the design on them is very cool. They are quite upsetting to look at, very unsettling. The problem is they were just so frequent in the game that they kind of lost it after a little bit, because the first time you get jumped around the corner by one of them, it's very sort of, ooh, fucking hell. Get off me, you bitch. But when it gets to the 20th time in the 10 minutes, you're sort of there like, oh, for God's sake, here we go.
I don't know if I agree with that point, really. I think the spacing of them, and Tim, I didn't get as far as you. I'm not at chapter 12 or whatever you're at. I think I'm at chapter 8. I found that, yes, combat is incredibly frustrating. I've seen a lot of people comparing it to Dark Souls combat because there's a stamina and a dodge mechanic. I think it's a bit of a lazy comparison. I think it's not too dissimilar.
It's Dark Souls combat if the Dark Souls developers didn't give a shit about the combat system.
I don't agree with that at all. I think that I think it's not too dissimilar from Silent Hill 2. Combat, the Bloober Team one, and I don't know if you guys have played that, but that was broadly celebrated. I think the whole of that reboot was broadly celebrated, and I think that because you lost guns, it made managing multiple enemies much harder than it did in Silent Hill 2 Remake. So, Tim, your point of multiple enemies and being built for one-on-one combat is probably true. Because it's really heavily based on the combat from Silent Hill 2, minus the ranged weapons. Go on, sorry.
I could see it as being like Hinako, the character you're playing as, being just simply inexperienced at combat, and that would be a plausible enough reason for her to be a bit naff at fighting things. But when you're 8 or 9 hours into the game, you kind of, I would expect that almost to wear off a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think at the point that I'm at, it's still easy enough to separate out the one that you want to hit and just lock onto it, get 3 or 4 heavy attacks, back off, coax them back into you, 2 more heavy attacks and they're dead. That's kind of the case with the mannequins. With the harder enemies, I can understand why I find that really frustrating. But we will get into the gameplay properly in just a little bit. Anything else you guys want to talk about your experience of the game before I get into the story?
It's worth noting for the audience, if you've never played a Silent Hill game before, they're kind of known for having multiple endings. Looking this up, out of frustration, you can only get one ending on your first playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
After your first playthrough, you can unlock all the other endings provided you meet a set number of criteria throughout that playthrough. So we will have all, for the purposes of this game, assuming we all finished it, would have got the same ending, but you may see different endings online if you're looking this up.
I like that they included their joke ending as well.
Yes, that I'm a big fan of, but it will never beat Konami the dog.
So, before we get into the story, Konami the dog was, for Silent Hill 2, the joke ending was that he goes into a room and all of Silent Hill is being controlled by a dog.
Yeah, it's just a dog at a control panel just pushing buttons and pulling levers.
Just being a funny boy.
Just barking at a screen, and James, the other playable character, has a fucking breakdown. Which, to be fair, I would if I'd encountered like a bunch of like atrocities that are focused around entirely my guilt, and nearly died several times and found out a Shiba Inu was behind it all. I'd snap.
I quite like it. Right, so the story of Silent Hill F. I can only go so far because I haven't completed it. Tim, you've got further than me. If you want to carry it on, no problem. If you want to leave it ambiguous so our listener can play it themselves and make up their own mind if they choose to off the back of this, that's also fine.
There will be spoilers.
So I haven't yet said that. Maybe I'll put it in our skit. More spoilers ahead for Silent Hill F. So you play as high school student Hinako. Hinako?
Hinako.
Oh my God, I'm so bad at the pronunciation of this. You play as high school student Hinako in the town of, Tim?
Ebisagoa,
thank you very much. During the 1960s. The game starts out and you are having an argument with your mother and father, and it turns out your father is an abusive father. The argument is about why couldn't you be like your sister? Why couldn't you conform? Etc., etc. Hinako says, it's not the life I want. And then she leaves, right? She goes down to the village of
Ebisagoa.
Thank you, Ebisagoa. For audio listeners, I am pointing to Tim when this is going
like
up.
Shoot out.
It's just like where she meets her friends Shu, Rinko, and Sakako. How did I do the pronunciation there, Tim?
Spot on.
Great. I played this game with the Japanese voiceover, so and I think that's the right way to do it.
Have you heard the English voiceover?
Is it really bad?
It's fucking atrocious.
Is it on a scale of excellent to the English translation of Squid Game? Where is it?
I'm honestly gonna put it around Squid Game territory.
Oh, really? Wow.
It's
okay.
Bad.
Okay. Cool. So, after meeting Shu, Rinko, and Sakako, Shu gives Hinako. Keep saying Hinako. That's not good.
Interchangeable at this point for the purposes of this.
I don't know. It's not. That's highly offensive, Tim. You're going to get cancelled by all of Japan.
I'll see you guys in May.
Shu gives Hinako some red capsules for her headache, and then after that, a fog and big old plant growing epidemic appears, which is much scarier than it sounds the way that I'm describing it. Essentially, you are running away from a fog monster through the town of
Ebisagoa.
Thank you very much. the town becomes overrun with monsters, and Tim, the main character's name, Hinako?
Hinako.
Thank you. Hinako, this is so fractious, it's really hard to keep up. Hinako wants to meet with her friends to make sure that they all make it out of town alive. You start by finding Shu, who is your best friend, treats you like just one of the lads, one of the boys. Calls you partner. You play the space game, which Rinko really, really hates.
Yeah.
Rinko, so you meet Shu. He says, let's go and find our other friends. And then you go and find Rinko, who is someone who is madly in love with Shu and hates Hinako because Shu spends all
Caesar's a threat.
Yeah.
Caesar is a threat, but Shu basically gives you undivided attention, and Rinko wants all. It's not Rinko. Rinko
Star.
Bloody Rinko Star.
Hinako.
Shu, you've got to forget about.
I'll get on the drums.
My God, I'm so lost as to where I am now.
Just like Silent Hill.
I know. Rinko Star.
Shu Manchu.
Stop it. Rinko Star wants Shu's undivided attention, but Shu seems to be madly in love with Hinako. You try to travel back round through the town because there's a highway and a way out there, but you are diverted through different areas that are spooky and full of monsters. Whilst all of this is going on, every time Hinako needs to sleep, you are transported, what I assume is to her dreams, where the fox man, the man in the fox mask, is leading you through different puzzles, essentially. It's a very drawn-out way of doing lots of different puzzles, and in these puzzles, you see things like Sakako, who is portrayed as a giant monster, who has an elongated face and was that Sakako or was that Junko, her sister?
No, that was Sakako.
And like a heavenly glow around her because people saw her as this higher being that Hinako was
I will say,
quite jealous of.
That monster designer, Hinako, the monster version, was fucking sick design.
Sakako, sorry, or Hinako.
Yeah, sorry, Sakako.
So what's fun about that is during the promotional run-up to Silent Hill F, they made that monster into a statue and put it outside press events.
Nice.
Excellent.
Just in case you want to terrify the shit out of everyone who wasn't interested.
That is terrifying. But so you traverse through the real world, which is like Silent Hill world, and the dream world where the man in the fox mask is manipulating you to make choices. Where I got to, Rinko is in a cage above lava and ready to drop into the lava, and I can't work out whether I'm saving or murdering her. So, yeah, don't ruin that for me, Tim.
I won't. To kind of pick up on some of the themes of that we've gone through here, the Fox Mask Man is in Japanese culture a inari, or a god in the form of a fox, is meant to be the god of prosperity and success. And foxes are seen as the messengers of the Inari. So it's kind of what Foxman is kind of doing at these shrines in Hinako's dreams. It's meant to be like a dark shrine. He's meant to be like a priest master or a shrine master wearing a fox mask, while you give constant offerings to access different parts of the shrines to these Inari.
Okay.
The other side of this is the flowers that Joey mentioned, the spider lilies. They are flowers that have got a few different meanings in Japan. They can mean everything from death and farewells to actually hope and rebirth. So them kind of swarming through the town is very fitting with the big underlying story of Silent Hill F. Do you want me to go into big end?
Yeah, just do it. Yeah, just do it.
Okay. So to cycle back around to the very beginning of the game when you're having that argument with your parents. The argument comes from the dad being an alcoholic, abusive husband, and the mother being subservient and, despite knowing she's being abused, siding with the husband, because back in 1960 Japan, if you were a woman and you divorced your husband, you would be left with fuck all. So it was almost safer to remain with the abuser, which is a horrible situation to be in. And obviously that has warped Hinako's view of marriage. And Junko, Hinako's sister, was married off. And part of the dad's anger issues comes from the fact that the family is horrifically in debt.
Okay.
So what he wants to do is, as an agreement with a local fishing company, he wants to marry off Hinako to the son of the wealthy owners of this fishing company. They're prosperous, they're successful, hence Hinako seeing the guy in a fox mask with the inari. And she obviously runs out and doesn't want anything to do with it, but then she ends up meeting Shu, who has some feelings for Hinako, but Hinako doesn't reciprocate those feelings. And there's Rinko, who is obsessed with Shu, to the point of having hundreds of drawings of him in her room. It's bizarre, to say the least, how obsessed she is. And there's a whole theme, and I don't know if you guys will have seen this if you did the school bit, with the origami foxes where people write down their grievances.
Yeah.
What we end up seeing is Rinko is actually the source of a bunch of rumors about Hinako, because she's trying to get her to be essentially socially distant from everyone so she can have time with Shu. By leaving, they have this whole tradition in the town where people will write grievances, fold them into an origami fox, again befitting of the fox motif that we've got going on. And then the idea is that if you find one of these foxes, you're supposed to read this secret and keep it to yourself, effectively alleviating the person who wrote it of the pressure of having a secret. But what it ended up doing was ended up being a tool for school kids to spark rumors about each other. Because anyone could say anything, it was completely anonymous, and there would be zero repercussions. The whole fog monster that starts spreading these lilies is a giant bride. And the giant bride is like this warped, twisted version of herself, of Hinako, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Going through the town, spreading these spider lilies and causing, mannequins to appear and what have you, because that's how she kind of sees her people. She sees the spider lilies as enigmatic of her current feelings towards marriage. There's even a whole scene about how Hinako, as a bride, or as the bride monster, if you like, kills her parents in front of Hinako, who is still a child at this point. And during chapter 12, there's a whole thing of Hinako running down the mountain, chasing this monster, saying, "You took them from me. You took everything from me." Essentially meant to be enigmatic of the arranged marriage taking away her innocence, taking her away from her family, taking her away from her friends. It's taken everything from her.
Mm-hmm.
What it turns out has actually happened, and this is the big spoiler for ending 1, which to my knowledge is the canon ending. The pills that Shu has been giving Hinako for her headaches are botched medicine. Shu wants to be a doctor and is working on organic alternative medicines in his spare time in the garden shed, and he thinks the headache pills are working. So the more of these pills that you end up taking, which is a really common medical item in the game, the worse the nightmare gets. And there is actually an ending where if you don't take any of the pills, none of this shit happens. Which is kind of fun. I mean, obviously, you've got to go through like all the nightmare stuff itself, but none of it's real. So what ends up happening is, because of all these pills that are botched, Hinako, during the arranged marriage to the son from the fishing company, goes berserk and kills her parents, hence the symbology with the bride killing the parents earlier, kills Shu, kills Rinko, and runs off into the woods, never to be seen again, which is exactly where the fog monster goes when you're chasing her through the town. She runs off into the woods, into this secluded spot, leading to the ending. Lots of really fun symbolism here. Obviously, things like I mentioned, the birthing monster is literally a bunch of pregnant bellies stuck to 4 legs with a head that spits acid at you and just pumps out monsters. It's obviously very symbolic of what she thinks marriage is going to be.
Well, there's also the one that's all the babies stuck together, and its attack is a scream, and it doesn't hurt you, but it debilitates you completely.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, once again, like, she doesn't want that life, and just to be. Yeah, I just. So I think, Tim, thank you for clarifying that. I think that's really important. We're going to change up the way that we're doing this a little bit, because we used to talk about the story, talk about any extra bits, and then end the thing. We had a discussion, and I think it was pointed out that maybe that's not the way that we could dive deepest into this. So we're going to break down 3 areas: story, gameplay, visuals, and audio. And we're going to talk about them and give individual scores for those areas. And after that, our own scores will be broken down and averaged, then averaged again to give the Game Club pod score overall. Did I do that justice, Alex? Because you did a really good way of explaining it earlier.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, the whole thing is we tend to go on these, much like we've done over the last half hour, is go on these long tirades of our thoughts on the game without really going deep into any of it in particular. We try to cover as much as possible to give the most overarching view of the game we can. But I feel that for what these are, which is effectively a game review, going in deeper into the main components of what makes a game, i.e. story, gameplay, visuals, just might make it a bit more cohesive.
I agree. Well, Tim, as you did such a great job of explaining the story and what I missed, let's hear your score, not your store. Let's hear your score on just the story and your thoughts on it, and then we'll go to Alex, and then we'll do mine.
So in terms of the story, I love it. I think it's an important message. Arguably, Japan as a kind of as a culture for women these days while it's certainly a little further forward than the 1960s, seemingly from the outside, it's not too far removed from that now anyway. So having that window in is important. Explain these kind of details that, granted, may be lost on, without wanting to sound like a filthy weeb, without being lost on Western listeners. A lot of the symbology here it's helpful to know if you know about the symbology behind like the shrines and the flowers and what have you, but I don't think it's necessary to get the most out of the story. And I think it's brilliantly told. It's, again, to reference what I mentioned in kind of my initial thoughts, I think it's great that you can pick up parts of the story that aren't necessarily explained, but you can work it out from notes. Massive thumbs up for those who really like delving into lore. I would probably give the story a 9 out of 10.
Nice. Cool. Alex, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it is a lot of parroting what Tim said. The story is good. It's deep. It doesn't feel like it's been forced or shoehorned in. It feels quite natural, especially in combination with the environmental storytelling of the origami notes and the little bits of newspapers and what have you that you find. I didn't get to the end of it, so I didn't get the full scope of the story, but for what I got, it was a good story.
Okay, score?
7.
7. What would you have done to make that better? A higher score than 7 is what I'm looking for.
I think to have given it a higher score, I think I would have needed to play the rest of the game and get the full story. I'll admit it's a lot of me.
Okay, cool. I agree with Tim. I think it's a Silent Hill game. It stands up. It lives and dies on its story. It's clearly done and written and presented by people who know and like Silent Hill. And I'm going to give it an extra point on what I was going to give it because we didn't see Pyramid Head, which is my biggest gripe about Silent Hill. People put Silent Hill on it and they go, we've got to see Pyramid Head. And it doesn't work when it happens. So I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10.
9.5?
Which is high score. I loved the story. I thought it was great. And I'm looking forward to finishing it, which would be good. Right. Now, something a bit trickier. Gameplay. Alex, thoughts on the gameplay?
if it was just a walking simulator with puzzle elements,
it
would have done.
it.
Well, maybe not, but I think what it's done is it's muddied its own waters by putting a combat system in that didn't work. They could have scrapped the combat system entirely and still had a good game, because it would have become this very tense, horrid, story-driven game. I think adding combat just kind of, it took a lot of the horror element out of it, I think, because you had a way to fight back, albeit the way to fight back was frustrating as all hell and didn't really work. And I know, obviously, there was some limitation to your ability to fight back, because at the end of the day, you're a 13-year-old girl walking around with a steel pipe. There's not much you can do against interdimensional horrors with that, but I feel like the introduction of the combat mechanic just spoiled the rest of it for me personally. Gameplay wise, it's a 4.
Okay. Tim, I'm going to go next if that's okay.
Totally, yeah.
I agree with what you said, Alex. Apart from you've said it a couple of times now. You said the combat system is broken. I don't think it is broken. I don't think it's optimal for this kind of game. And I got really frustrated with the stamina management in a game that isn't based around stamina management. So if this was Dark Souls, I would have found it much more frustrating, because it's the kind of combat I would expect in that game. I found that everything outside of combat I enjoyed wholeheartedly. And you said something about the items earlier. I have a problem with that, because I think I have to search for the puzzles. I have to make sense of them, which in a Silent Hill game is not the easiest thing to do. I think that the navigation, I love the map system in this game, the way that it marks, like Silent Hill 2, in pen, when something is locked, when something is accessible, which way you can travel through it. You get so much from a map, and just the way a door is annotated on that map. I think the inventory management added to the tenseness of the game, and having to really think about what you wanted to use to enhance your character and what you wanted to offer as effigies to improve your character in the longer run was interesting, and not something I've seen before in Silent Hill. But the combat is not broken, but not good. It's not fitting for this kind of game. I think if you want to have a game where you are dodging, blocking, parrying, counter-attacking, don't try and get it from Silent Hill. Just have a swing, have a dodge. Don't worry about stamina management. Hinako is slow enough to not need to worry about an added layer of stamina management, in my opinion. So whilst I'm not going as low as 4, I will go 6 out of 10 for the gameplay. With improvements to the combat mechanic, that would probably be an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Tim?
I mean, you've pretty much hit the nail on the head there for me as well, in terms of like the puzzles. The puzzles are good. It's good puzzle. That's what Silent Hill is good at. But it's the combat system, and it's the word I would use to describe the combat in this game is maladapted. It's not built for this.
The word
game.
I would use is flibbity-jibs.
Flibbity-jibs. It's not built for this game, and if it is based on the combat systems of Silent Hill 2,
it's built upon the combat system in Silent Hill 2. I think if they ported Silent Hill 2's combat system, this game would have been right, because you don't have the stamina management, and James Sutherland in Silent Hill 2 is equally as slow as Hinako.
So first of all, drop the stamina management, because I didn't need this game drawing inspiration from the Soldiers in Armour 3.
Sorry, Tim. The other question I have is, there's a sanity meter.
Yes, I was going to get to this.
What is this? Because it ran out for me, and I actually didn't notice any much difference.
What you could do with the sanity, there's a thing called the sanity meter, and it is tied to your focus time in combat, where by pressing left trigger, you could focus on one particular enemy, and the game would go, whoa, this enemy's doing a big attack. You should hit them right now to do a big counterattack. Or if you were in focus mode for long enough, you got to do a heavy attack for the cost of for the same cost as a light attack. So effectively, it's like a discounted heavy attack, which is a cool idea. But the problem is that everything drains your sanity. So from the environments you're in to focusing, and keep in mind the focus time that you're in, the thing that requires stamina to use, is also tied to your block. So if you're out of sanity, you can't block. So if you run out of items to top up that sanity, say ramen bottles or fried chicken that you can just find lying around,
it's the Castlevania chicken in a wall.
It's wall chicken,
tasty floor chicken.
But those sorts of things will top up your sanity. But then getting hit by an enemy will also drop that sanity. In the same way that there is a specific animation for each health kit item you can use to top up your health, be that pills, bandages, first aid kits, whatever. But then by the time Hinako's done with that animation, you've already been hit and you're back exactly to where you were.
Yeah.
It was a very frustrating loop to be in, and frustrating is what I would probably describe the majority of this gameplay as. Again, to be clear, puzzles, great. Picking up things, yeah, it's a bit hit and miss, but I don't want to run around Silent Hill games just spamming the A button. That would kind of void the point. It rewards you for observing your environments. But equally, if I can see the dot on my screen and I'm stood on top of the object, give me a little bit of leniency. I've found the thing. But I mentioned it again in my preamble. From seemingly chapter 9 onwards, they just cram combat down your throat. And it seems to remove all puzzles in favor of hitting things with a pipe. And it's my biggest gripe with the game, to the point I think I'm going to have to give it a 4.5.
Okay, cool. I really like, Alex, by the way, while we're recording this, that you have a fox on the shelf behind you.
Don't trust the fox, man.
Don't trust it.
Where's my fox there?
Behind your head. There.
Oh, I see him.
Oh, so I do.
There you go.
It's watching me.
And then finally, we're going to talk visuals and audio. And I'm going to start with Tim again.
Hello. I mean, I love this game's presentation. I think it's beautiful. I think its symbology is great. It's got awesome color contrast with the spider lilies being like
pyramid head.
No pyramid head for a start, but like the fact the town is constantly marred in this kind of bluish, blackish, grey fog, but then you'll see spider lilies and extruding flesh from like monsters and what have you that are like a really striking red. Like it creates like almost a natural waypoint system for you, in the same way that how do I put this? You know how Mirror's Edge, as an example, had like red objective points on the map that weren't flashing going, hey, go here, but you should probably look at it because it's different to everything else on the map.
Yeah, because the rest of the map was a lot of yellows and blues and primarily white.
Yeah, this takes that kind of same grey and black color palette and then throws in some red for some spider lilies to almost be like, you should probably look at this bit. It's brilliantly directed. Audio, great soundtrack. The monsters had some incredible sound design. The pipe sound, I'll be honest, being your main weapon, wasn't the best. It was a bit of a bonk. It felt a bit like
I use the baseball bat more than I use the pipe.
I use the pipe more than anything, and when I found sledgehammers, that was my go-to.
Oh yeah, me too.
But you know when you get the sound of like a cardboard tube from the kitchen roll and you hit it off a surface and it goes bong.
Yeah.
That's what the pipe sounded like to me.
But I liked the baseball bat because when it got to a certain level, it snapped and your heavy attack became a stabby attack rather than an over the head swingy attack.
I never broke a baseball bat enough to find that out.
Well, it was much quicker. Keep it at half durability, and it's much quicker to use.
Interesting. But for art, I would probably give this another 9 out of 10.
Cool. 9 out of 10. I like it. Alex, your ice in your cup sounds like a train crashing. It's so loud.
It's just
a lot.
I'm just pretending I've got a steel pipe in my hand.
Clonk, clonk, bang. I've got to keep it in now that you've said that. Right, Alex, the audio and visuals.
Audio and visuals for this game is why I posited the idea of this system, because the audio and visual design in this game is so far ahead of its gameplay that I was starting to feel bad because in my head I was going, this is like a 4 out of 10 game for me at best. And I was there thinking, but that's not fair because the art and the visuals are just, sorry, the art and the audio is just so good. And I think for a horror game that is trying to make you feel uneasy and uncomfortable in your environment, they needed to nail that, and they absolutely did. As Tim said, the sort of everything's very grey, but then you've got these red spider lilies which really stand out against it all. There's a scene where I think it's the first time you go to the dream realm and meet the Foxman, and he's walking ahead of you and he's got a blue lantern. When he's going through the bridges and the shrine gates and stuff like that, it just looks so good because everything around him is really dark and it's just this really bright blue that you're following. The soundtrack was great. The monster sounds great. It's it's all right. I would watch someone else play this game quite happily for 12 hours.
I think that's what this boils down to for me as well. Is I could watch someone, like if I wanted to go through it again, I would watch someone play it, not play it myself.
Okay.
But yeah, and same as Tim, it's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Where it's bleak, it's really bleak, but it's like pretty bleak, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think the monster design is stunning. I actually when I first saw it advertised and I saw Hinako as your protagonist, I thought, a bit of a child protagonist in one of these games. It doesn't sit right, but I feel like that has influenced the design of the entire game so much in a way that makes so much sense for Silent Hill. I think I'd give this a 10 out of 10 audio and visuals, and I don't think we've given many 10 out of 10s on this podcast.
No,
I think this might be one of the best looking games, the best presented games I think I've maybe ever played.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what does that do for our averages, Tim?
Let me get my calculator real quick. That is 9 plus 6 plus
25.5. It's about an 8.5.
Okay, cool. Well, that was what I was going to give it overall, so I'm buzzing.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, mine averages out to a 7, which I hate to side with IGN, but that is actually about what I was thinking.
Well, maybe there is logic to our scoring system, and it's not just a number pulled out of the air. Tim, 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
The big question here, which I think is another interesting discussion point, is would you recommend this game?
I would recommend someone watching it in the current patch and the current build of the game, and to the game's credit, they are, like, Konami seem to be shit hot on patching at the minute. Mm-hmm. I can see the combat presumably improving or some things being rebalanced. But in the current version of the game as it is right now, I wouldn't recommend you watch it. I wouldn't recommend you play it. I'd recommend you watch it.
Okay, cool. Alex, what does yours average out to?
So story 7, gameplay 4, audio visual 9 gives me a 6.5, which is much higher than I was originally thinking of giving it.
Okay. What were you thinking?
Originally, I was thinking 3.5, 4.
3?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's low. So your actual score is a 6.5, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I think I know the answer. Would you recommend this?
Yes, because I can appreciate that it's not necessarily a game for me, because I'm not a horror game fan. I think what it's tried to do in the horror elements, it's really hit the nail on the head with a lot of it. I think if you can put up with a frustrating combat system, you're golden to play this. Otherwise, watch someone. Preferably with no commentary, because there is nothing worse than
and for the love of God, in Japanese.
Oh yeah, make sure they play it in Japanese. Added so much to it, I think. Well, mine was an 8.5 out of 10, which, I'm really happy with. And I wholeheartedly recommend it. I think Silent Hill is a franchise that everyone should play. And I know I said I had my gripes about the naming of the game in the first place, but as a Silent Hill game, I think this really nails the brief. it's a bit clunky in areas, but I don't think that's enough to put someone who knows. If you like Silent Hill 2, the remake, you will like this game. There's no bones about it. You will like this game. If you're a Silent Hill fan, it's definite. If you're a horror game fan, I think it's a definite. If you're not and you're curious, have a watch of someone else doing it like these guys said. I'm sure there is something in this game for you if you like video games.
Yeah.
Right. Does anyone have the average score of what that is? So Tim's... Oh, cool. So what's our average score?
7.3 recurring. 73%.
73%. I'm okay with that.
Me
Out
too.
on track with IGN, so, IGN, give us a call.
Well done, IGN.
We'll do contract work.
Yeah. Well, on that note, let's say that our next episode of Mainline Game Club Pod is not in Halloween, so will not be a horror game. Not in Halloween, not in October, so will not be a horror game. What is our next Mainline episode, guys? I need to stop. Sorry, I need to stop saying Mainline. What will be our next Game Club podcast episode, which is the name of these review podcasts?
We are going to be doing Death Stranding, but for 10 hours, because Hideo Kojima likes to make long games.
Very, very long games. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, join us in 4 weeks for that. But in next week's Thanks I Hate It, we'll be playing The Mortuary's Assistant, which is my choice for these boys. Because guess what? It's still October. Time for those willies to be put up here. Woo!
We're still in Halloween.
We're still in the Halloweens. We'll be playing The Mortuary's Assistant, which if you guys haven't seen anyone play or don't know anything about it, keep it that way until you play it. That would be my recommendation.
I've seen a snippet or two on TikTok, but that's about it.
Cool. Keep it at that. Go into it as blind as you can. Right, boys. I'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.